And then if you have Tableau installed, go ahead and just Google search DSI UF GitHub, and it should be the first link. And then scroll to Tableau Workshop. And then the hate crimes, just click on that and then copy and paste this into an Excel file and then go ahead and save that. So does everyone have Tableau installed? Does anyone need help?
I'm trying to verify two activities with the Box.
So I think if you try to download the free trial for 14 days instead, maybe that should be faster.
When everyone has it downloaded, to show us how to put it in Excel or whatever format it needs to be.
So you just copy and paste it like it is here.
Doesn't need to be in individual cells. It's just pasting it to one cell.
Pasting, so I can show you. So you're just gonna so all I did was highlight all the cells, and then you can go to an Excel file and then just paste it exactly how it is. You don't need to do this. Just, save it on your desktop and then Tableau will put it. Yeah, and there's like information on the side as well, so make sure you get everything. Should I send it to the group?
I sent. Sure.
Okay.
Isabella. And just drop in the green.
Yeah, so I'm actually gonna drop the file in the group me in the Slack. So you guys can pull it from there. But I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Does anybody need help with anything? Installing Tableau, copying and pasting the info? Everyone's good? Great, awesome. So once you have Tableau open, it'll look like this. And just to go over what you see on the screen right now, Tableau allows you to connect to an Excel file, a text file, PDF file. There's like so many different types of files. And then usually when you're working on Tableau in the real world, at the job, they'll want you to connect to a live SQL server or any type of live server so that you see the information in real time. So you would be clicking one of these here, and they have like everything you can think of. Microsoft SQL servers, MySQL, and then there's just so many different options here, like, you know, amazing. And today we're going to be using an Excel file. So go ahead and click Microsoft Excel. And then we're going to be looking at data about hate crimes in the United States. So you can go ahead and click the Excel file that you saved. And when everyone sees this screen, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. So if you're stuck, you can raise your hand and I can come around and help you. So everyone sees this screen. Okay, awesome. So just to go over what we see here, on our Excel file, we had, you know, pretty standard organized information, but that's not always going to be the case. So sometimes when you have like really messy data, you want to use the data interpreter, and Tableau will actually interpret the data and categorize it for you. But here we don't need to use that. And we're going to have it as a live connection. I usually leave it as a live connection whenever I work with data in Tableau. Some reasons for using an extract will be if you're publishing to your company's SQL online and you want to schedule refreshes so that it kind of looks at the new data and then refreshes it. So you have to have it as extract for that case scenario. But we'll leave it as live for now, just because we're not refreshing anything. And here at the bottom, this is where you can kind of play with and organize the data. I'll just go over it really quickly. Data, Tableau can already like understand that these are lists of states. So it will put this symbol, which is a geographic role symbol, and it already knows it's a state. So for example, if you're working with airports, they'll already put it as an airport, area code, city. They have a bunch of different roles here. And then Tableau also already knows that this is a number. You can see it already knows that it's a whole number as well. So this sign means that it's quantitative data. So Tableau is really smart and everybody knows that. And for this specific data set, you can see we have all quantitative data, and then the only qualitative category we have is the state. So is everyone good and everyone sees the screen? So we're gonna go ahead and go to sheet 1, and I want you to name it lower 48.
Should we have any null values?
There are null values, yeah. So after you name it lower 48, I'll just go over the left side here. So you can see it has state and measure names as blue, and that's because it's quantitative. And then the rest is qualitative, so it'll have it under the measure values, which it will have as green. And
Wait, how did you open that up on the right?
the sheet, you have to click sheet 1, and then I named it as lower 48. You're good.
I'm used to like, oh, is it at the top or something? Or is it right here? Or right
So on Tableau. Yeah. Yeah, and then you guys So is everyone good with this? Everyone's here with me? Okay, so next what we're gonna do is we're gonna drag state to the middle of the screen. You should see a map of the United States. So you're just dragging it to the middle of the screen. Yeah. So I'll actually just delete this sheet. So what I did was I named it lower 48 after creating a new sheet. And then I'm just dragging state to the middle of the screen and letting it go.
Yeah.
And then I'll just go over the different type of marks. So over here, we see color, which is basically used to change the colors of the visualizations. Size, it'll actually change the size of the bubbles here according to whatever metrics you're measuring. And then tooltip is just to customize what the user sees when they hover over the bubble. So right now, the tooltip says state. And you can see that when we hover over, you should see the name of the state. So let's actually add data to the states. But first, we have to make sure that what we're dragging is the appropriate data type. So we're going to be using median household income first. So I want you to go and click the down arrow for median household income. And then we're going to go to default properties and then number format. And what format do you guys think median household income should be?
Currency standard.
Exactly. So we're going to click on currency standard and then click OK. And then we'll go ahead and do the same thing for share non-citizen. And this one should be a percentage. So I'm going to go to default properties again, number format, and then percentage. And then we'll just do the same exact thing with non-white. So click the down arrow, default properties, number format, and then percentage. So everyone good with changing those three? Awesome. And then next, we're gonna actually add data to our map. So I'm gonna drag median household income and just place it under state. And then I'm gonna do the same thing for share non-citizen and share non-white. And right now you shouldn't see anything changing on the screen, and that's because our marks are still on detail, which is the basic setting.
Everyone okay? Anyone need a little help?
Everyone good? Everyone have those 4 over there? Okay, awesome. And you can basically play around with the different marks, but let's go ahead and do the median household income as color. So go ahead and click color. And you can see the map is now changed according to the median household income. And then let's do share non-white as label, just to show you guys what it does. So, you know, if you want that one as labeled, you can do that. So you're basically free to, you know, play around with the marks however you would like. I'm just gonna leave it back at detail so that it's nice and plain. And you can also change the color scheme in Tableau. So go ahead and click on color and then edit colors. And then since we're the Gators, let's do orange and blue. So it looks nice and pretty. And there's also something in Tableau called filters. So we're gonna use the drag filter, which is as you drag through the filter, the different states that meet the filter will only appear. So let's go ahead and drag median household income into filters. And we want to use all values. Depending on what you're doing, what your project is, you might, you know, want to do some, average, maximum, minimum. But for here, we want the filter based on all our values. So just go ahead and click next and then click OK. And then do the same thing for share non-citizen. Click next, OK. And then share non-white, click next and OK. And then the filters are now built into Tableau, but we actually want it displayed. So go ahead and click the down arrow and click show filter. And then do that for all of them. Okay, so is everyone good at this point? Everyone's with me? Yes.
To change it to orange and blue, I just didn't see how you.
Yeah, so you're gonna go ahead and click color, edit colors, and then they have like different options and you can even.
It doesn't have that option, it just comes up with like a list of colors and it says more colors. So, it's like.
So I can help you with that later.
Yeah, I guess it's not that.
Yeah, I'll help you with that after. So you should see this, and we're only gonna do the lower 48. So we don't want Alaska or Hawaii in our map, unfortunately, for now. So we're gonna click this arrow here on the top left. And then this arrow kind of helps you to drag around. And then we're gonna just zoom into this view. So it's just these 48 states. And then just to show you what the filters do. So it's really cool if you like drag, you'll only see, you know, the states that meet the requirements of the filter. So if you want to see just household income that's greater than like 60K, you can do that with the filter. So everyone's good. We're gonna finish off the sheet and move to the next one. Okay. So what I want you to do now is go ahead and right click on the sheet and click duplicate. And then just double click on the name of the sheet and then name it Alaska. And then again, using our tool, which we got by clicking this arrow and then clicking this button, we're just gonna zoom into Alaska. And then we're gonna do the same exact thing. Right click duplicate, change the name to Hawaii this time. And then using that same tool, just zooming into Hawaii. Does anybody need any help with these 3 sheets?
Just add you to like the sum part, like under like state, like sum, median, household income, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
So I actually dragged it from
Okay.
here. Yeah.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Now it's median household income and what else?
Share non-citizen and then share non-white. And just make sure that it's set to the right default property. So you'd go to number format and put currency, and then the other 2 are percentages.
So like, you see how like your entire state is blue? Like I just have like a blue like dot.
So
I mean, it's just-
you have to click next to some median household income. You have to make sure it's set to color.
okay.
Yeah.
So can there not be 2 things? I guess there can be 2 things set the color at the same time.
Yeah, there can. Yeah, the marks you're like free to play around with. Like, for example, if I would want these labels for the share non-citizen, I can click on label and do that as well. And like, then when you click on label here, you can do, you know, for example, if I want it sideways, I can do that. Like everything's customizable. Okay, so the next sheet we're gonna make is called correlations. So go ahead and add a new worksheet, name it correlations. And we're gonna be working with median household income, share non-citizen, share non-white, and then share unemployed seasonal. So let's first make sure that share unemployed seasonal is the right data type. So just lower click. And then default properties, number format, and then percentage again. And what we're gonna do is drag the median household income to rows. And then we're gonna drag the share non-citizen, share non-white, and the share unemployed seasonal to the columns. So you should see a screen like this. And you're probably thinking, you know, what does 250% mean? Like, what is this? And that's because you can see it says sum next to all of our measures. So it's just aggregating all the percentages. So we don't want that. Like, we don't want to show the sum percentage. So if you lower click on the measure and go to measure, you can see in Tableau, you can work with the sum, average, median, count, minimum, standard deviation. But we don't want that. So we want to set this as dimension because we want to see all the percentages. We want all the values. So go ahead and change all 3 to dimension. And then you should see something like this. So this is what we want, but obviously it does not look pretty. So we're gonna go ahead and change some things around. So under marks here, you see it says all, and then the 3 different separate measures. So for example, I want all 3 of them to be circles. So I'm gonna change it under the all category. I'm gonna put shape. Instead of automatic, change it to shape. And then if you want to play around with the colors of each measure individually, you would have to click into the actual measure, and then let's change this to orange. We'll leave this one as blue. And then let's do the last one as green. So is everyone with me? Does everyone see a screen like this? You have questions? And then Tableau also has really cool like analytics tools you can use. So for example, we're not going to actually interpret this data, but if we wanted to kind of have a trend line, you can see they have trend line, they have constant lines, they have a bunch of things that you can work with. So we're just going to drag the trend line and then drop it under linear. Really useful tools, and if you drag on the actual line, they give you like the R squared, the p-value, so pretty cool stuff. So is everyone good with this sheet? I'm gonna move on to the next one. Everyone's good? Awesome. So the next sheet we're gonna do is called tree map. We're gonna go ahead and drag state to the middle of the screen, just like we did last time. You should see that map with the blue dots again. And just gonna show you what is under the show me button. Actually, first let's drag share non-citizen to the middle on top. So you can drag it on top of the map. So is everyone good? We're just dragging share non-citizen on top of the map. And then go ahead and click the show me button. And I'll just go over the different types of visualization Tableau offers. So this is called kind of like a bubble map. So the large states will be bigger. For example, California has more non-citizens, so that's the biggest bubble. Another graph they have is a box and whisker plot. And then this one's not my favorite, but it's the circle view. So California, you can see, is on the top. And it'll have it as 13% here, and then it has the rest of the states along the map. And the tree map we'll be using. And then this is also called stacked bars, kind of like the circle one, and it just does it in order by alphabet, and it'll just have the percentages there. They also have bar graphs. They also have pie charts, and then maps we already used, and then you can do a highlighted table and then a regular table. So there's a lot of different types of visualizations you can do in Excel. For now, just click the tree map one. And you should see something like this. Does everyone see that tree map? Awesome.
Wait, how did you get to that?
So if you click the show me button
Oh, I see.
and then tree map, yeah, that's like the button you use when you're trying to switch between visualizations. And let's go ahead and click color. And then we want that orange and blue one. And then since this is just the first workshop of Tableau, I won't go over like if you wanted to make, like there's a lot of different states on here, right? So if you just wanted like the top 10 or the top 20 to display that, I'll go over that in another workshop. So we're gonna go ahead and make another sheet. And we're gonna call it crime by state. So for this one, let's do a bar graph. And we're just gonna drag state to columns. And then go ahead and drag where it says hate crimes per 100K. Go ahead and drag that to rows. So this is like the standard bar graph in Tableau. And then if you look at the top here, the first button, you could basically switch it from sideways, switch the axes. I like this view, so we're gonna use this one. And then the second button here, you can order it as well, whichever way you want. And then Tableau will always give you a gray button on the lower right when you have null values. And then if you actually click that button, you can filter it out or you can leave it how it is. We're gonna go ahead and filter it out. And then we don't like this color because it's ugly. So we're gonna click color. And then we're gonna change it to that nice green. Or whichever color you want. So is everyone good? Everyone has that bar graph. Let's add another sheet. We're gonna call this one correlations 2, and we'll actually be, let's go ahead and call it Trump. There's some Trump data in here that we're gonna be analyzing. So we're gonna use the highlighted tables. I'm just trying to get as many visualizations as I can since this is kind of an intro class. Let's go ahead and drag where it says share voters voted Trump. We're just gonna drag that to rows and then drag state to the columns. And for right now, you should see a bar graph, but that's not what we want. So we're gonna go ahead and click show me and then click the highlighted tables one. Does everyone have a highlighted table? And again, edit colors. And this time we're gonna do something different. We're gonna do the sunrise one. And then our last tab is going to be called correlations. Correlations 2. I guess this, we're actually going to interpret the data because it's pretty interesting. Let's drag share voters voted Trump to the rows. And then we're going to drag the hate crimes per 100K to the columns. And you should see a screen like this, and then same in how it was in the other sheet. It says sum, and we don't want the sum, we want the dimension. So I'm just gonna click dimension, and then dimension, and you should see a screen like this with all the dots. And then we're also gonna go ahead and put the trend line so we can actually analyze this information. You can see it's pretty interesting because hate crimes were as low, see the high percentage, and then you can see the dot here, which is, so the hate crimes is basically ranked from 0 to 1.6. And so this is really high, but as you can see, for this specific bubble, there was a low votes for Trump. So kind of like the opposite of what you would think.
Wait, how do you put the trend line down again? Sorry.
So you're gonna go to analytics.
Yeah.
And then just drag the trend line to linear. And there's different types of trend line, as you can see. We're just gonna do the linear one. And then you also might be curious to see like, okay, but what state was this? You know, why is there so much crime there? So you can just grab state and then just drag it to the middle. And then now when you hover over the bubble, you can see that that's the District of Columbia.
So they had a high number of hate crime and a low number of Trump supporters.
Yeah, because it's ranked from 0 to 1.6, and it's like over there.
The way Florida's like, just quite good. That's like one state, like, you know where Florida was at.
So you would put state as a filter. And then if you just want to click Florida, yeah. And obviously for the end user, you would have like the filter on the dashboard, and then they can click the state on themselves, and then it would filter for them. Okay, so these are all our sheets, and the big part of Tableau is actually like creating the dashboard. You're able to be creative in that part, and really think about what the end user wants. So now that we have all our sheets, go ahead and click on the middle button this time, and it should say dashboard 1. So just to give you a little overview of the properties inside the dashboard. So you can actually have like a phone view if you wanted to access Tableau through your phone. You can change the size here. The standard is 1,000 by 800, so we're just going to leave it there. And then these are your sheets, which you'll be dragging to the dashboard. And then you could also input like web pages, extensions, text, images, things like that. So what we're going to do first is drag the blank object. I always like to put objects in my dashboard just because it keeps everything nice and organized rather than me kind of doing the sizing. So go ahead and drag the blank object, and then we're gonna pretend like we're official like crime reporters. So go ahead and drag the image to the top of the dashboard. Actually, so first, what was the name? We want a nice header on our dashboard, so
You wanna email it to me?
they can just Google it.
Google it?
So go ahead and Google United Nations Crime and Justice Research Institute. So we're gonna Google that and then just save this first image on your desktop. So do this part again. So all we've done so far is we've dragged the object onto the dashboard. And then I just dragged the image to the top of the dashboard. And then now that you have the image saved, click on choose. And then just gonna open that image. And you want to make sure you have it fit and centered. So your screen should look like this right now. Is everyone good? Okay. And then you have to kind of do the sizing on your own. So all I did was use that arrow to drag it to the top. And, you know, if you don't want it centered, that's fine. It could be on the side or in the center. And the first thing we're gonna drag is the lower 48 one. Just drag it and then let it go. And again, this part is totally customizable. You don't have to follow me. You can design it based on how you think it looks nice. So for me, I don't like to see the title. So I'm gonna go ahead and how you hide a title if you want to is you click the down arrow and then you could uncheck title, or you can have the title showing and then double click the title to kind of edit it. And like you can center it, bold it, you know, make it small, things like that. So just leave it like this. And then the next sheet I'm gonna drag is the Alaska one. And then again, if you want to format the title, you can do that. And then also here you can see we have all our filters. And the reason we have so many filters is because I forgot a step. So we're gonna go back. So remember we duplicated these sheets. We have filters for each one, but they're not correlated. Like if I were to drag this one, then I want this one to change. So what you can do is Tableau actually allows you to synchronize the filters, which is really important because if the user wants just one filter for multiple sheets, we want to be able to give that to them. So we're going to go to the lower 48 tab and then go to your filters, click the down arrow, apply to worksheets, selected worksheets, and then click Alaska and Hawaii. Is everyone good with that? What we're doing is we're synchronizing the filters so that the user just needs to use one. And then we're going to go ahead and do the same thing with the share non-citizen filter. Down click the arrow, apply to worksheets, selected worksheets, and then you could click Alaska and Hawaii. And then we're going to do that for the next one as well. So now if you see, let's go to Alaska, drag median household income, and then you can see this changes as well. So we've just synchronized our filters. Is everyone good with that? Everyone understands? Awesome. So we're going to go back to our dashboard, and then I'm just going to X out the extra ones, and then we could test and see if we drag. Yep, how that works. And then let's get Hawaii on this dashboard. I just dragged it next to Alaska. So it should look like this. And then I'm gonna fix the title to how I like it. Everyone good so far? And then something you can also do is for the filter, you can down click and then click floating. That way you can kind of get them out of the way so that you have more space there on the side. So we're kind of just designing the dashboard. And then let's go ahead and drag the correlations table. And then we'll also drag the tree map on here. Now, as you can see, sometimes Tableau just creates like these empty boxes for no reason, so you can just X them out. And then again, our tree map has the same color filter as the map, so you don't want to have both the color filters, so I'll just X it out. And then just keep this one. And then something else that's important, if you click the down arrow and then go to fit, there's different views that you can play with. We'll just leave it for standard for now because the tree map looks fine, but you know, sometimes you want to make it the entire view depending on what visualization you're working with. And go ahead and that. Does everyone have this first sheet ready? Okay. And then we'll go ahead and create the second dashboard. And then we'll just put the remaining 3 sheets on here. I'll drag the blank, drag the image.
So what does dragging the blank do again?
So if you don't have the blank there, then you could basically size the visualizations based on how you want it exactly. But like, I don't like to do that because I feel like Tableau does a better job with like the
Oh, so
sizing.
it just like fits it all better?
It fits it all together, yeah. Yeah, like basically for one of my internships, like we were required to print that, just so like they wanted everyone's visualizations to be standard across the board, so.
Yeah.
So we're gonna put that image so we're legit. And then we're just gonna finish it off with the crime by state. And then again, I usually put my legends as floating so that it's kind of out of the way. And then, for example, this is an example of a visualization you would want to change how it fits there. Let's go ahead and click the down arrow and then put into, no, not entire view. Fit with. Is everyone ready with the dashboards? Solid. So if you would want to view them, you can click on this button here that's on the left, and then you can basically toggle and see how it looks. And so usually when you're at the workplace, after you create these dashboards, you kind of publish it to Tableau Online, like the company's Tableau Online. And then you would do things like refresh it, and you know, when you publish it on Tableau Online, then it's like open to the whole company and you can see your dashboard and do cool things with it, and you know, you can view everyone else's dashboard. But we're not going to be publishing this today. Yeah, does anyone have any questions? This was basically Tableau 0, and you know, if you're interested in learning more complex things, such as click by actions like filtering, and you know, we'll get into more complex stuff with Tableau because there's a lot that you can do with Tableau.